Hey everyone! You might notice we are streaming on Tuesday, which is unusual. We normally stream on Thursdays, but that's because we've got an exciting new show. We've got Highcaster, Oathstar, ran by Christopher Gray of Christopher Gray Games, one of our publishing partners in Gallant Knight Games. So I am here to kick it off and then hand it over to Chris. This is our first partner game stream on our streaming stuff. I guess our TV station, I don't know what you want to call it, something fun like that. But I won't be in the game, so that's why you won't see me going forward. So everyone, Chris is going to run a great game. Chris, I'll move you up from behind the logo in a minute. Don't there. Everyone, have a great time. I'm really excited. I can't wait to watch and see what Chris has put together. I'll be in the background lurking the whole time. So with that, Chris, I'm going to hand it off to you, and I'm going to head on out.
Awesome. Thank you for having us. I'm thrilled. This is really exciting. We're going to do Highcaster as it was intended for the masses. And I have some very talented people with me. This is, I must confess, my home group. Sans one person, although she couldn't make it because she works at this time. But the rest of you are here. And I'm glad to have my friends here on this journey. So we're going to have a really good time.
All the ringers.
Yep. I brought them all. So don't mess it up. Have a reputation here, people.
So much pressure.
You, Kurt. Don't mess it up, Kurt.
So we should introduce ourselves before we do. Just know that Highcaster is currently on Kickstarter. It has funded, and we are doing well with it. So we're just trying to hit the stretch goals so that I can release some more cool stuff. So if you are watching this in real time-ish, be sure to stop by and back the game. It's going to be a good game for you to play indefinitely. I think it's the last game that you need. That's my professional opinion.
I agree.
Why don't we go around and introduce everybody? So if you speak up now, this will be your order going for the next 6 sessions. So, think carefully about who's going to be first.
Hi, everybody. Okay. I'm Rob. Rob Hebert. I have been a good friend and collaborator of Chris's for a very long time, going back to Happiest Apocalypse on Earth, which I did the art for. I've also worked with Alan at Gallant Knight for a few different projects. Excited to be here. I'll be playing Grumble tonight, who is kind of a hayseed Pac-Man. He's kind of like made out of rocks and wears a floppy hat and is kind of this world's, it's called a Holton. So he is sort of this world's version of dwarves or gnomes, I guess. And we'll see what kind of shenanigans he gets into.
A legendary today. Rock, though.
Legendary, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Awesome. Who's next?
I can go next. Hi, I'm Kurt. I use he, him pronouns. I have also been a good friend to this whole group. Chris mentioned, this is our home group. So I love all these people. I'm excited to play Highcaster. I'm going to be playing Emir. He is a giant kin who is a wild kin. There's a lot of kins in this game. But he is a very large giant, 18 feet maybe, if I did math right. And he has a good friend, otter bear named Muscles.
Just to make clear, because of the accent, that is an otter. That is a bear. An otter bear.
An otter bear.
Yeah.
Yes. He is Muscles.
Awesome. All right, jump in.
I'm Danny. I'll go. I'm Danny. I was looking at Joanna and we were just communicating. Like, she's like, no, you go.
You guys have a weird telepathic link. I don't like it.
We podcast together
host.
too.
Yeah.
We do, yeah. I'm Danny. I use she, her pronouns. I write for RPGs. I've written for a bunch. I've written for Gallant Knight Games. I've written for, I did some editing for Christopher and on Great American Witch, and I've done other stuff. I've worked on Conan. I've worked on 7C. I've worked on a whole bunch of stuff. So, and these people, we just finished up an amazing maths game. So it was awesome and it was great. And so I'm excited to do this. And yeah. Oh, and I'm playing Inosi, Enosi uses she, her, and Enosi is a drac, basically a dragon. And she is blue with silver eyes. She's got blue scales with silver eyes, and she's a magister. So she's basically a magician, essentially. So I'm excited about that.
Lots of strange creatures.
Oh yeah, let's get to the strangest now. All right. I am Joanna. I guess I'm a little bit of an outlier to this group, but not really. I know Chris through his wife, because we both like to write horror and all of that stuff. And I started playing with this group back when, Chris, I think you were still working on The Great American Witch and you needed some beta testers. So that's, my full-fledged force into getting sucked into this beautiful, wonderful world. And then there was the one time we played 10 candles at your house, which was absolutely fantastic.
That one trauma that you're still recovering from.
Oh, but I like the dark. Yes. But yeah, I also podcast with Danny. Goodness, I've written tabletop board games, video game reviews in the past. I've written for PC Gamer, Maximum PC, Gizmodo, and now I'm over at Reviewed, which is part of USA Today. But about my character, her name is Renoy, and she is, tell me if I'm saying this right, a fiend, F-Y-N-D. Is it pronounced fiend? Yes. Yep. So she is descended from demons. Yes. But she's also a demigod. She still has some features left over from her demon ancestors, like very angular features. She's not that tall, but she has wings, so she can fly. She's very creepy, but she's also really nice. She's like a justice warrior. So I'm really excited.
That's great. We're yeah, you heard some strange creatures, and if you haven't really looked at Highcaster yet, you'll probably wonder what's going on. So I think I'll probably introduce that along with her story. So why don't we just dive right in? This is us. This is what we're doing, and we're jumping in. So about 500 years ago, the world was almost entirely destroyed because the stars fell from the sky. And the stars were literal and figurative gods. So that meant that the gods perished. They fell upon the Highcaster Empire, which was a large continental empire, spanned from sea to sea. And of course, the empire fell apart and fragmented. And those that survived rebuilt over generations upon generations. In the old days before the fall, in the Whitland Downs, it's this vast expanse of plateau, sort of in the heart of the continent. The people there are pastoral because there's not much to eat. So they bring their livestock from place to place, sort of chasing the seasons until they can settle down in semi-permanent locations to trade before they move on for the next season. They're mostly clans, and while they might band together under a banner if there's an external threat, they usually don't get along too well. But one thing that they did have in common was a rite of passage that they all used to take. This was before many of your characters were ever born, and this was before the fall of the stars. But there was this one star that was always in the horizon to the west. And when you were of age, you would go and you would take your oath to that star. That star represented who the Highcaster Empire would call the Princess Knight. But the Whitlanders didn't call her the Princess Knight. She was Oathstar. Oathstar was the oath, the sister of the oath. And you pledged your honor to her. And you would rise up as an adult in your clan. And then your life would go on. But every child had this rite of passage, taking the oath to the Oathstar. Obviously, the Oathstar, along with all the other gods, died. 500 years, the night sky was empty. And the pastoral people of the Whitlands crossed the plateau to and fro, to and fro. The clans persisted. They grew. They rose. Some of them collapsed. The Asar clan, who you are all a member of the Asar clan, the Asar clan kept that oath tradition. Many of the other clans did not. But even though there was no star, you still, when you were of age, you took your oath to the memory of the star. Well, one day, I should say one night, a star appeared in the sky for the first time in hundreds of years. Obviously, everybody freaked the hell out when that happened. But that also meant that maybe there would be other stars that would come back. Maybe the Oathstar would come back. And the Asar believed that that would be true. If there's one star, then there were others. So they rallied the best of their clan. And even though they were mocked by the other clans, and even though the other clans, some other clans thought it was a total affront to leave the Whitlands at all, the Asar knew better. They knew that if they brought the best of the best to send them out to the west, to the horizon, they could bring Oathstar back to the sky. And that's who you are. You're the best that the clan has. And you were sent west to the horizon. So here you are, many, many weeks into your journey. You've crossed the Whitlands, which you're used to. Most other people in other societies would not do this very well. Not a lot of water. There's not a lot to eat. Not a lot to forage, but you're Whitlanders. And you got through the canyons and the gulches and the desert and the high plateau. And you finally reach the edge where you see the marshes. This is the outskirts of the Darawish, which are the Riverland people. But to get there, you'll have to cross way too much marsh. There is an area called the Sunken Forest, which you know about, but of course no Whitlander would ever dare go through there. There's also, if you from this point went north, you could go along Isolation Coast. There's no marsh there, but there are sea beards. And sea beards with their beards and their axes don't take kindly to passerbys. So you're standing on a cliff, the last white chalk cliff of the Whitlands, looking down upon this marsh, and you have to make a difficult decision. Will you cross the marsh into the Sunken Forest to reach the Darawish and head towards the horizon that way? Or are you going to go along Isolation Coast? A longer journey, but safer, yet with raiders about. And the sun is setting. You've had a long journey, and here you are. Why don't you take a moment and describe the silhouette that is standing on this white cliff overlooking the marsh, and introduce your characters.
Standing in the center of this tableau, you see, I'd say backlit, but he's facing away from, the camera, looking out over the horizon. You see a round boy who is shaped like a friend, big sphere with kind of craggy edges and two little feet underneath it, and then big rock arms on either side, and a flopsy hat atop his head. This is Grumble. He has sort of like backpack straps, like leather backpack straps that go over his shoulders and attach to a sledge that he's pulling behind him. Although he's probably taken the straps off and walked to the edge to rest his arms and look out over the potential routes that this party could take. And on the sledge, you can't really make out the individual pieces, but there is a towering pile of, some would call it junk, some would call it treasure, strapped down to this sledge. all kinds of strange silhouettes of all manner of different items. And yeah, that's Grumble.
And I think the camera pans way up. Way up.
Oh
and
yeah, I'm a
just
short
keeps-
boy. I'm a short boy. I'm like 4 feet tall. I'm built like Wario.
and it just keeps going. And so it sort of pans over and we see some like makeshift leather boots that are about as high as Grumble is. And then it you know goes up and we see that the clothes that this person is wearing are not they're handmade, but they're like of many fabrics because it's hard to get enough of one you know, fur or anything to make one piece of clothing, and it just keeps going up. And we see a like a net, like a fishing net, sort of draping over one shoulder, and it pulls back, and you can see silvery, like a silvery outline of their hair pulled up in a bun. And then they like kneel down and peer over the edge into the swamp and rest their hand on their otter bear, who is the size of a bear, but has sort of cute features. They're a little rounder in places. Their face is a little more otter shaped. And we can see the otter sort of smelling the swamp area and like shaking his fur.
And then it kind of pans over, and you see it's kind of a dragon like silhouette. You know, it's got the long snoot and a couple horns that are delicately curved back around the head, and she is wearing very natural clothes, very natural, made of natural fibers, nothing flashy. Her scales are flashy enough. They're a very bright cobalt blue color, and carrying a staff. Looks like a plain staff made of natural materials that you might find in the woodlands, and it has words carved on it. And she is peering out, just like Amir is next to the otter bear, peering out over the marsh.
All right. Camera pans over again, and then you see this not necessarily like average height creature, but sort of like hovering in the air with her wings gently flapping back and forth. And that's Renoy. Her feathers kind of gently rustle with the breeze that's coming through, and then she gradually lowers herself down to the ground as she also gazes out among the marsh. She has like very like almost reflective kind of bluish gray skin, completely white eyes, and jet black hair. Her wings extend out almost like twice the amount of her body, and then she kind of folds them into her back to kind of protect them. And then she just kind of bends down to the ground and picks up some dirt, and she kind of like rubs it in her hand and blows it out and kind of just watches which way the wind carries it. And she is well versed in guiding people to and from places, so she in her mind is trying to decide, which is the best path to take.
Well, sometimes these mysterious things don't ever have a clear answer. And so the white chalk dust just dissipates in both directions. Unless you want to roll for it.
I am just gonna say dissipates. It just dissipates.
We're technically in a chapter setting that allows you narrative control. So we can just keep going here. So here you are. What are you doing? What do you do?
Grumble's muted.
Listen up, y'all. I don't know if we should be going down into the lowlands. I don't work well with marshes and swamps, and in general, anything where there's earth and water mixing together. So for me, if you were to ask me, I say we go down yonder over to the coast. And I know that there's some sea bears around there, but you know what? I've dealt with sea bears in the past. In general, their bark is a lot worse than their bite. And they come from all over. So, they probably have things that we could use in our journey. They can be helpful if you know how to handle them. You know what I'm saying?
It's an interesting proposition, I will say. Although I don't know how accurate it is because I have never even dealt with these bears before. But I can see why you're really concerned about the marsh, though.
I think Muscles would prefer if we travel along the coast. He likes the water, but not the smelly water. And also, I am very large and heavy, and I may get stuck.
Also, I know that Muscles is really into, oysters and clams and other types of bivalves and mollusks.
He loves all
and
of the mollusks.
There's plenty of that stuff in like tide pools and that sort of thing. So I'm thinking that we're already maybe coming to an agreement that that the coast might be the best choice. What are you thinking, Aussie?
I think our decision is made.
Yeah. The coast it is.
You are very wise, Renault.
Thank you. And I am so blessed to have you on this journey with us.
Well, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Mary, you mind if I strap this sledge onto the back of Muscle's back? If we're going to be going down the edge of this cliff.
I do not think Muscles is a sledding animal. I don't think he would like that very much.
Right.
I could carry it for you, if
that works for me.
Yes, if it is a trouble for you, I could just, and then he just like scoops it up, and it's like just fits in his hand. He's like, I will take it. Now, Chris, I don't have the strength, the giant strength thing. So is this really heavy?
What's on there exactly, Grumble?
So have you ever seen that show American Pickers? It's like that kind of stuff. Like it's not junk, but it's sort of like you have to find the right buyer for it to be worth anything.
This is a unique plow.
Yeah, exactly. It's like there's probably some musical instruments on there. There's some strong boxes. Obviously, like the strong boxes have other things inside of them. But if you want to just buy the strong box, you can do that. We can cut a deal for that one. Bundles of ropes of varying quality, and just a ton of hats. Grumble is into hats. He deals in hats. He knows everything about hats.
Yeah, the giant strength really is about exponential strength. So you have strength that's consistent with your size.
Okay.
If you had giant strength, it would be ridiculous.
Gotcha. Okay.
Giantkin are descendants from giants, and giants are 100 feet. They're like titans from Attack on Titan. So you're a good sized creature, but you're not giant.
Right. But compared to our group, I'm like three times their size. So
right.
It is not a problem. I will carry it for you, Grumble.
Cool. All right. Well, I'll roll on down and I'll meet you guys at the bottom of this hill. And he sort of curls up. He kind of tucks his arms in and his legs, and you can kind of roll down like an armadillo down the chalk cliffs.
So I'm going to pick on Renoy. It's Renoy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Am I saying that right?
Yeah.
You are a almost said wildkin. You're a wicker?
Yes.
Your path. Okay, I'm going to ask you a relationship question. And the answer to that question maybe can come out in the next moment. Who needs your protection but will not admit it?
Oh, definitely Grumble, because he's so tiny.
So the fact that Grumble is just like marching down the cliff,
Yep.
does that trigger anything for you?
Renoi wants to just kind of fly and follow him because he's rolling pretty fast. So, and she's worried he's gonna like roll off somewhere and maybe go crashing into something, even though he's, you know, kind of made of rock and stone. But yeah, he's going.
I mean, that's probably why he's so cavalier. I'm sure that.
Yeah.
There's probably not a lot of stuff in the Whitlander areas that can damage a rock creature, but I bet in the big wide world there is.
The plan is to head north towards Isolation Coast. Are you going to skirt the marsh to do so? That might add a good week to your journey. You don't know how long your journey is going to be, so maybe that doesn't matter.
I mean, if we get stuck in the marsh, y'all, then like that's going to add more than a week.
No, we should take the fastest route possible. I think, you know, we don't want to be stuck out here for too long.
Well, that night it begins to rain, which is unusual for you all. You're not used to rain. Rain happens in monsoon seasons, and it's usually torrential and very brief. But this is just, you know, a rain that comes through. And, you know, being on the edge of the lowlands here, it's warmer, it's gentler, but it's just persistent than the rain you're used to. And it doesn't stop. The rain has persisted now for 2 weeks as you've been skirting the marsh. Not even the mosquitoes are coming out now. And now there's thunder.
Priceless treasures are ruined.
Which ones?
I mean, the most expensive ones I put underneath the tarp. Made of oiled skin.
It seems to get worse the more north you go.
I will cover them for you.
Is there any way I could use some magic to at least help give us somewhat dry? I mean, 2 weeks of rain, it's
ridiculous.
That's ridiculous. Is there
I have
anything
been growing moss in places that I didn't know it was possible. This moisture is changing my life.
It's impossible to sleep at night. You know, you have to find a way to get to high ground because everything's sort of flooded a bit. And so you're sleeping on rocks. Not that all of you need to sleep. I don't think Holtz need to sleep. But, you know, those of you that need to sleep, it's very difficult. And it's just persistent. And it's warm too. So it's like not even like you can't even be worried about getting cold and getting distracted from it or whatever. It's just miserable. But yes, as a magister, you can sort of work some magic to see how this goes.
Just to make us a little more comfortable, at the very least.
Renoi is very cranky because her wings are very heavy.
Very wet.
Because her feathers are wet. So she doesn't get cranky very often, but when she does, the demon comes out.
Okay.
Chris, what kind of a chapter are we in right now?
We're in a quest, so everything's rolling just normal.
Okay.
Good question.
Okay.
Kind of keeping it below board. We are the game is divided into chapters, which change the mechanics just slightly. And what you're doing is rolling against a threat, which is persistent rain. If we were at a table, I would have put it out on the next card, but you know it's really only the one threat, so we don't need to make it theatrical. So what are you doing? You're using your magic to sort of divine a source, or are you looking for a way to protect yourself from the element?
I think I'm looking for a way to protect ourselves. Or Source or protect ourselves? Source or protect ourselves? No, let's go for source. Let's get to the root of the problem. I changed my mind. Yeah, let's get to the root of the problem. Let's try to figure out, like, see if she can use her magic to figure out why it's been raining so much, at the very least. So,
Sure. Okay.
So
let's call this a scout roll, which means you're going to be rolling courage.
okay.
And you can choose to use one of your disciplines if they apply.
They're going to use the discipline of words. At 4.
So you're sort of are you reading from a tome to call the energy forward?
Off the staff.
Off the staff, right?
Yes,
okay.
that word's
Okay.
off the
Cool.
staff. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Okay. So rolling these.
And if you want to put in your path talent, I think it would apply because there's probably a magical reason for this.
Oh, okay.
And you have a path talent that whenever your knowledge of the magical arts is tested, you can use a d6. So go ahead and throw in a d6 to that pool. So you're rolling your talent die is a
20.
d6.
Yep.
You're rolling your discipline die. You chose a d6 on there.
Yeah.
And you're rolling your courage.
Yep. And my discipline, which is a D4. Right?
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm rolling these, and I get the highest one.
The highest one from that pool, right? And you add that to the d20.
Okay. So that would be a 19.
Woohoo!
I rolled a 5 on one of the D6s, so 19 to divine. So you see Enosi with the staff kind of holding it in front of her, and she starts whispering words, and one of the words kind of glows, and then glows, and she receives whatever she's going to receive from that magic.
Yeah, the divination reveals a very powerful, probably godlike presence causing the storm, and it's way outside even your comprehension. So while you can't combat the storm, you do realize, oh, well, then I just need to do an offering to protect ourselves from this. And you don't really know what that offering might look like, but if you were to, pay reverence to whatever this entity is, that maybe you wouldn't be so miserable.
My friends, this is very strange. It seems that there's some sort of godlike presence creating this storm. I mean, the gods haven't been here for, centuries.
Well, maybe it's connected to the new star in the sky. Maybe the gods are coming back, and like the first one is like the rain god.
I'm sure our people had rituals for giving offerings to the gods, but I've forgotten quite what they are.
So I'm a Scopular. So
Yes, you
is
are.
it possible that I would know what sort of god or pretender god this might be connected to?
Yeah, it's
should I roll for that?
it would be against the same threat, which was already just resolved.
Okay.
So you all have one favor when you started the session, so you could spend a favor to either introduce a truth, and you just know what to do, or go after the threat again. Otherwise, you're just going to have to kind of draw from your own experience, which means it may or may not work.
Okay. You said this is just like gentle rain, right? This is not.
Yeah.
This is like big fat drops and just doesn't end.
Yeah, it's just persistent, and it is getting worse the farther north you go, but it's not like torrential.
So I don't think that Grumble necessarily knows this particular god or anything like that, because this would be a god from like the lowlands as opposed to the high desert and the plateau that he knows. But he's probably heard some stories about it. from other tradespersons or merchants or what have you that he's met in his wanderings. So I think he is going to say, he wouldn't know this particular god, but he's like, well, this sounds like a lowland god. And the way that people used to handle the lowland, the gods of the lowlands was they would create little effigies of them, almost like little poppets or something like that, and they would burn them. So we need to find cover and start a fire and make a little effigy and burn it. So our first step is we got to find somewhere dry where we can actually build a fire.
I could probably help find a dry place. I'm sorry. I didn't realize it was that big of a problem. Well, actually, that's not true. I have heard you all complaining for 2 weeks, but Muscles has never been this wet, and I felt so bad for him. We usually live in such a dry place, and he isn't, he likes the water, so I should have found us a dry place sooner.
I was going to say something, but...
No, so I can try to find us a dry place. I have the discipline of survival, which is knowing how to withstand elements.
Yeah. Right. And you're sort of in a situation now where the threat that was resolved was around the fact that you have to do an offering. But we're still dealing with the same problem.
Right.
So to do that, you'll need to pay a favor.
Okay. Well,
and that's fine if you want to do that, or you can take a favor from me, and then I'll escalate the situation.
Okay. Well, I like that option better because that gives me more favor.
Yes, it does.
So I'm going to look for a dry place. And how does it get worse?
Well, obviously, there's a flash flood.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously. You're on the edge of the woodlands, and the rain has been hitting dry canyon lands persistently for weeks. So it starts with a rumble and proceeds with the ground underneath you sort of flooding upwards as the groundwater is rising, and then you hear it. And there is just a rumbling, like boulders the size of cities rolling down the canyons. So the new threat is flash flood.
Okay.
So that dry spot better be found.
Yeah. Let's see if we can't get us a dry spot now.
And you get a favor, so it's worth it.
Yeah, I got 2 now. So let's try to withstand this flash flood that I'm super familiar with.
Is the more dangerous aspect of it like that will be swept away, or is it the stuff that's coming down the mountain hitting us? Is that what's the more?
I would say a bit of both, but probably swept away would be at least your concern, because you probably wouldn't be too hurt by any of the debris.
No, but my stuff.
Your stuff would. Yeah.
I assume Emir has put my stuff down while he's looking for a dry spot, and then now all this water's rushing down. I'm gonna have to triage the most important bits.
I need to know what those most important bits are.
I mean, important. Number 1 is the banjo.
Yeah. Okay. And the hats.
I mean, I have like 3 hats underneath this hat just in case. So, and then I also have something underneath the hat, but we'll save that for later.
All right. You're lucky I'm not making you pay for the banjo, but you can have it.
I would pay for the banjo.
You don't have to. It's all right. You're my friend. I'll let you have it.
You don't want Grumble to be without his banjo.
Renoi looks over at Grumble and she's just like, you've had extra hats this whole time, and you just see her just sopping wet, and she just stares at you like,
yeah, you should ask me. My head's been really hot these last 2 weeks.
Good gracious.
Emir, you are rolling. You already picked out your discipline, so you're going to roll one of your discipline die?
Yes.
You're rolling courage because this is a scout roll.
Courage.
Right. Well, you could argue for...
What's courage?
Oh, that's also...
I have charisma on my...
You have an old sheet.
Oh, what are the
Virtue,
stats?
courage, prestige.
Oh, cool.
So it would be. Well, yeah, you know what? Because I made a D&D version.
Okay.
So you have the D&D version. I gave you the wrong sheet.
Virtue, courage, and
Not familiar with
prestige.
that
I
game.
think virtue would be my lowest. No, virtue would be highest. Prestige would be lowest, and courage would be in the middle. So this is a D6.
Yeah.
And then I'm using my discipline, so I get a D8, right? I can
If you
use the
choose
D8.
die, yeah.
Okay, I'm going to use the D8 for my discipline, and then am I balancing nature and society by saving my friends from this flash flood?
It's a stretch, but okay.
All right.
I think you could, because of Grumble's stuff.
Right.
You know,
Because
you'll lose some of the important artifacts of the Whitlands.
Yeah, so I got to keep that stuff safe.
Right.
Because that is our last bit of society that we have.
If you like, you can also spend a favor to add another D6 to the pool, but you
Okay.
don't have to.
I think I'm okay. So I've got a D8 and a D6, and my talent die for saving the stuff. So I get to keep a 5 plus 11 is 16.
Okay, well that's high enough. Very good.
All right.
Yeah, so you have found, first of all, where the rumbling is coming from, and it is literally coming from a canyon. So there is a dry spot away from the flash flood on the top of the canyon. So you're going to have to hustle to get everybody to safety in time. And then there's a cave up there. But the caveat is, you're going to have to climb a canyon to get there.
Right. How tall is the canyon?
Reasonably, let's say it's about 3 stories high. So you're at eye level, maybe? No, maybe a little taller than you.
Yeah. Okay. So like arms outstretched, I can throw Grumble up.
Yeah, you can
Yes,
throw
you can.
Grumble. Yeah.
Okay. So I'll just toss Grumble up there. And then
What sport do we play in the Whitlands?
Oh. Well, you can't play cricket with a rock as the ball. So
Bocce ball?
oh yeah.
All right.
Croquet.
Okay. Just gonna throw me underhand. That's
Yeah.
just all I'm getting at.
So I'll toss Grumble, and then I will I'll politely ask if it's all right.
As this rumbling
Yeah, like it's a dangerous situation, but I'm like,
water's coming.
Enosi, Renault, is it all right if I put hands on you to lift you?
I guess. I just want to be warm, please.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Soon, I promise. And he like grabs you and tries to put you up. Probably one at a time, since I don't have like absurd strength.
And Oathstar tries to look as dignified as possible with her staff, like riding on the hand. Like
Renoi looks like a wet cat. She gets up there and she's just like,
just as Enosi gets up there and she's like, ah.
I do that tableau of Anasi with like the wind and the rain moving the cloak. This giant hand is lifting,
Yes.
and then the flood hits as you're doing that, and so when you lift yourself up, you're actually crawling out of the flood, and the water was coming up to your chest.
Oh yeah.
Just
Well, and
rushing through.
muscles would go up before me.
Oh sure, of course.
Is Enosi bipedal, or are you all okay? And do you have a tail? All right, got it.
So there's no room for Amir in the cave.
Oh,
It's too big. You're too big. But I mean,
that's okay.
you can sit next to it on top.
Yes, I will huddle next to the cave. Is everyone warm and dry inside?
thank the gods. This is so nice.
I thought we didn't have any gods.
Can we get a fire going?
Yeah, I'll gather together some little sticks and stuff, and I think I just snap on top of it, try to get some sparks going,
Mhm,
and get a little fire going.
Yeah,
Start
fire's
warming everybody
going.
up.
So if there's an offering or something that you wanted to make, you could do so.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna take some of the tinder, which would be like stripped bark and stuff like that, kind of the inside stuff, and I'm going to weave it into like a little figurine, kind of like one knot at the top for the head, and kind of split it and tie it to make little arms and legs, and I turn to Inosi and I say, we'll need to figure out like what its name is before we burn it.
Can I try to figure out what its name is? Perhaps maybe divine this somehow.
You felt a presence, but you couldn't get that kind of clarity.
Maybe if we just like call it by like a epithet, epigram, whatever it is, where it's just like rain bringer. But I don't speak Lowlander.
Grumble, I have to know because I might be picturing this wrong. Is Grumble ridiculously good at carving these things? Like it shouldn't be that good, or is it just like how you describe?
It's pretty rudimentary just because of like the stuff that he has to make it from, but he is very used to like finding junk and fixing it up, right? So like he's like a bard, he's a scoffler, he's kind of a bard type character. So I wouldn't call him like a master craftsman or anything like that. But as far as like fixing things and like making little arts and crafts things, he's pretty good at that.
So Nasi, what do you think?
I wonder. Yeah, I mean, maybe I can. I mean, I think an epithet could work. Some sort of honorarium, could work. Deities would know that we are talking to them, and perhaps since it hasn't had tribute for so long, that would help us along our way as well. So, yes, yeah. I'm wondering if there's something I could add to it magically to help. Can I do a spell to kind of bolster the magical, the spiritual intent of the effigy?
Yeah, I mean, excuse me. You can in the narrative because you're actually still playing out something that you succeeded on already. So
Okay.
So you can make it look. I mean, you didn't roll high enough to have narrative control, but you can definitely narrate how your magic looks as you're making the offering.
Yeah, basically, she touches her staff to it, and one of the words on the staff glows, and the glow kind of spins to the tip of the staff and into the effigy, and then it glows for a second before it stops.
After that moment, most of you don't recognize it right away because Amir is the only one that's outside. But Amir finds that the rain is just missing him. And still there, but it's not making you wet.
Did you do something? He like peeks down real low to look in the cave.
We have given an offering to the deity.
Well, I think it may have worked.
Grumble's gonna waddle outside of the cave and see what's up in the rain.
Yeah, it's odd. It's like it's just not hitting you.
He's gonna call back into Renoy and tell her to come check it out.
Renoi walks out and she notices all the rain just dripping around her, and she's like, "Huh. Well, at least I can fly again. This could work. Yeah, I think."
Oh, that will be interesting.
Yeah.
Feathers are going to be dry as a stone.
Is it still hitting muscles?
That is a good question.
Is it just no rain, or is it your preference?
It's raining, but it's not hitting you. If I answer, I can answer that, or you can pay for it if you want it to be true. That muscles is okay.
This is going to establish a lot of rules about this world, Kurt.
Yeah.
How connected you are to your companion animal.
It is. It's a big question, and I don't want to knee jerk because I have an answer, but it might not be the answer you want.
Well, I want to know if all otter bears go to heaven. So I'm gonna pay a favor.
Of course they go to heaven.
Okay, so you can establish a truth when you pay a favor, and that's your moment. I mean, if it doesn't only need to answer the question, you can make something true about the world.
Yeah. So I think, yeah. I think that Muscles is. I can see that he's upset because he's no longer in the rain, and so he's running, trying to catch the rain. And like he's doing his slide, right? Because it's all muddy, and otters love to slide. They're faster when they slide around. So he's doing the slide in the mud, but he can tell that it's like he's looking up and he's rolling around and he's not getting wet. And
this is the saddest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. This hurts my heart on a very deep level.
So I feel a little bad for him. So I cup my hands and like pick up water and mud from the ground, and I splash it on him so that he feels better.
So what does that mean about so that animals can then be spiritually tied, or?
Yeah. I think animals benefit from the will of the gods.
Mm-hmm.
Muscles is part of our party.
Yeah.
It's a contributing member of our party.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
Yeah. And I think it's him specific, or it's all animals can benefit from the gods, and not so much that my connection to him is so strong that he has a link through me.
So, Amir, who do you confide in when you need counsel?
Oh, Renault. Is it Renault or Renoi?
Renoi.
Renoi.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Renoi.
The I is very small.
Yes.
I confide in Renoi. They are very wise and always know just what to do.
Is there something that you want to confide with her now? If not, that's okay. I'm just asking innocently.
No. Renoi, I feel like I didn't know this, but did you see that Muscles is not in the rain?
I did see, and it seems like whatever Inasi did, it also affects him as well. So clearly he's a part of our group and our little traveling band of misfits. Yeah.
That makes me happy. He is sort of my best friend. And I have to apologize again. I knew that you all did not like the rain, but I wanted him to experience it for just a little bit longer, because it is all new for him. Except for the monsoon season, he doesn't get to play in the rain like that, and it was at your expense, and so I am sorry.
Oh, you are so kind, Amir. That is okay. Everything is fine now. And your little otter bear Muscles, he's happy. Everything's great. So we could just forget the rain ever happened.
Okay, well, it's still here. We can still look at it.
Oh, yeah. But we're all dry now. And Renoi just kind of expands her wings, and she's like, see, this is what freedom is like. It's wonderful.
Your wings are so pretty.
Oh, thank you.
What do they look like? What color are the wings?
Black. Like, but they're
Are they like bat wings, or are they like just
No.
black feathers?
They're black feathers, like birds. You know,
Okay.
like if you imagine like
Like a
they
raven.
like angels from the Constantine movie, like kind of like that. So
Sure.
yeah.
Okay.
You hear
The-
a romantic banjo song emanating from the mouth of the cave.
Is that Deliverance? What?
Said romantic. Romantic banjo.
Grumble has interesting ideas
Joanna,
about
we need
what
to talk
romance
about
is.
romance. if
I'm
that
not
was
sure
your
how rocks
go-to.
procreate. I think they just shatter bits off of each other, and then there's more rocks.
That kind of like an amoeba. He's like an amoeba rock. Oh, wow, it's fascinating.
Perhaps, if I may, our task at hand is to see if we can find another star. Perhaps this deity, if we could find them and gain their favor, could set us along the path.
I think that's an excellent idea.
But where would we find the deity?
Well,
Look
they
at the
would be at
deity
the
from the-
center of all this.
Oh, okay. I could try to find the center of the storm. If that's what everyone would like.
Well, if this entity is like it has been reborn, then there's probably somebody worshiping it, right?
Well, us now.
Yeah, but not before. So
No.
maybe there's like a settlement somewhere in the lowlands that's nearby.
Oh, sure.
Although we've been traveling for like 2 weeks, so I don't know how far we've gotten in 2 weeks. Maybe.
Well, you've been heading north, skirting the lowlands. So you're sort of like in foothills with canyons up. That's now flooded.
Okay.
Since
Well,
I was gonna say, since Renoi is a guide and she's really good at finding places, is it possible for her to like roll so everybody knows what kind of general direction to go in if there is a settlement?
Yeah, well, you don't even need a roll for that. Just because you're,
Okay.
you know I mean, you don't know the region, but you know the terrain.
Mm.
And generally, you're going to have to get to the coast to see any settlements, because geographically speaking, you'll have to cross the sunken forest, which you can imagine what that is, Florida, before you get to the Riverlands, where the society is. So it's like, either you're going north along the coast to get there, or you're crossing. But there's not going to be much in the way, unless some small hamlet has living on stilts or something like that, or on barges.
Okay.
But it's possible, but you don't know.
Does Grumble have to breathe air?
No.
Okay.
Grumble is in effect a living rock from the ancient times.
Mhm.
You don't even need facial features unless you want them.
I mean, his eyes are underneath the hat, and then he's got a big rock for a nose. So, you decide. Decide how much feature that is.
And by the way, these questions I'm asking about your relationships are the sort of thing you would do in session 0. But since we didn't have a proper session 0, I'm going to just throw them out periodically in the game, because you all know each other and you've known each other a long time. Well,
It sounds like we have a couple of different options here. We can either go to the Eye of the Storm, as they say, or we can head on up the coast and see if there's any settlements. What do y'all think?
I will defer to Renoi. Or Renoi.
Renoi. Well,
Just going to throw this out there. There's probably some pretty nice hats at this settlement.
then maybe I can get myself a hat in case, the rainstorm happens again. Oh, big brim hat. And okay, focus, Renoi, focus. So if we are going to head into the eye of the storm, I mean, we're protected by the rain, right? But maybe if there is anything in the eye of the storm, it's quite possible it might have been destroyed. But if we continue along the coast, there may be a couple little cabins or cottages or something, and we can talk to people there and maybe ask them some questions about, does this rain happen often? I don't know, get some more background.
Agreed. So,
Okay.
I'm okay with going to a settlement.
do you think they would have very large hats?
I'm
Or-
sure we could ask them to make one if they don't.
Or maybe a small tent?
I'm sure they will be as hospitable as they possibly can.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to head to a settlement. That
We're
works for me.
going.
Right. Well, the rain doesn't relent the further north that you go, and it gets worse. I mean, you're still dry, but it's a little disconcerting, and your offering didn't stop the wind. There's also violence in the clouds in the stratosphere, and the further north that you go, the worse the storm gets. Lightning, thunder. You spot funnel clouds from time to time, and it's just more and more violent. And this goes on for another couple weeks until you arrive on the coast finally. And it's clear at this point that the epicenter of the storm is happening in the sea. There is a break along the coast. The waves are taller than a mirror, and they are crashing one right after another. This looks like it's been happening a while. It's like the shore has been completely torn up. Where you arrived, there was probably once a village there, but there's nothing now except for pylons here and there, the foundation of a couple of buildings. It's completely obliterated by this tide. And there are snaky water spouts along the horizon of the storm out in the sea. It's dark, even though it's the middle of the day. So that's where you end up. And this is Isolation Coast. You know that there are seabird settlements here somewhere. You know that they're supposed to be seafaring. Now, there are no stars, so they don't ever go farther than the coast, but they go along the rivers and along the coast. So obviously, if there are any ships out there, they're in big trouble. You do see shipwrecks along the beach. This is sort of desolation that you arrive to finally.
Are there any people around?
Not in the immediate area. It doesn't mean that there aren't any, but this particular village was obliterated by this storm.
Well, I'm going to get to picking and see if there's any stuff worth scavenging from the wreckage.
It was
I'm also going to be looking for signs of if any bodies survived, and if so, where they went, or did their bodies just wash out into the ocean?
Yeah, if anybody survived, you don't see any evidence of them, and you don't see any, evidence of bodies either.
Okay.
But they left in a hurry. This was a fishing village, so there's lots of gear, that survived the storm so far. The fish is all soupy and bad, but there were stores of fish. It's still somewhat salvageable, some of the things.
All right, I'm gonna start putting together a new sledge out of some of this, I'm sure, pretty salt-eaten timber.
Hooks, for fishing, and nets and rope.
Yeah, there's probably enough stuff. I mean, there's block and tackle and stuff all over. So I'm gonna make a kind of makeshift sledge and start my collection over. But I'll look for anything that's worth salvaging. I'm sure there's not very much, but
Yeah.
I'm sure anything worth salvaging, the survivors, if there were any, would have taken it with.
If there are any sails that are not totally destroyed and still on the ships, I'm gonna take one because it's probably the only thing that'll work as like function like a cloak for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. I
Probably
mean,
make
there
one of
are
those for you.
shipwrecks, so there are sails. These are sort of like the square sails. So they've they're pretty intact. So you could take one, and it'll be a cloak for sure.
Nice. And I have one of my items is a needle and thread appropriate to my size. So it's probably a sword that I ripped the guard off of. But my passion is fishing, and so I'll help Grumble find any fishing gear that is that looks like it's still worth anything.
Can we tell at all how long ago this place got destroyed? I mean, was it recently or a few weeks ago or?
Yeah, recently being a few weeks ago. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So it obviously was the storm that took it out.
Uh-huh.
But there are ships out there that are still sailing.
There could be. You don't know.
Oh,
you don't see any, but you do see shipwrecks.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Isolation Coast is a really rocky coast. Well, there are lots of cliffs, and there's the what do they call it? The pillars left over and arches and things like that. And a lot of that's been reduced to rubble because of the waves, and they're just rolling in. Boom, boom.
Well, listen, y'all. There's a couple options here. It could have been that somebody summoned the rain to protect them from the ships. Could have been that the ships summoned the rain to sail around more quickly and efficiently, and it just got out of hand. We don't really know until we find somebody who saw what happened. We're not going to be able to figure out who's responsible.
Almost on cue, you hear a voice say, "It's the Highcaster." And there is a raggedy-looking Seabeard, got an axe, looks like a drowned rat, mortal with a long beard.
I'm sorry, it was who?
The Highcaster.
Who's
And he points out, and just at that time, this tentacle comes out of the water, many stories high, and then slims back in.
Oh, I see.
I'm going to assume that's a sea scare. What's your name, fella?
He's speaking high speak, by the way. Or
Oh, I don't speak that.
but well, I guess you would have to speak a common language, so you understood him. Maybe he's identified you as Whitlanders, and he's speaking that.
I speak Whitlander and Rishan.
Mm-hmm. Yep, he's identified you as Whitlanders. Maybe it's obvious to him. That's the language he's using.
Oh, I mean, we all look so similar. You can definitely tell that we're Whitlanders.
The giant,
look.
the demon, the rock guy, and the dragon. Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why not?
It's the hats.
It's the hats. Are you down by your hats? Seabeards are pirates, right? They're just pirates.
Basically, yeah.
All right, they're like
or
Viking
Vikings.
pirates.
Yeah.
Got it.
I wouldn't reduce their culture to that, but
Yeah, but Grumble would. Grumble like teeters over and says, "Hey, fella, what's your name?"
Blackshire.
Well, my name's Grumble. These are my friends. We have been walking up the Oscillation Coast for several weeks, and gosh darn it, if this rain is not slowing us down, something fierce. So, if you could just elucidate for us exactly what the sea scare has to do with the rain.
What in the hell does elucidate mean?
Illuminate. It means
Clarify.
clarify.
Go into more
It
detail.
means to expound upon in increasing detail so that we could understand what you're talking about.
The sea scare came, and the storm came with it. We're grounded. We've been grounded for months.
Who's
Months.
we? I
Who's
only see.
we?
I'm sorry, Nosy. Go ahead.
I was gonna say
Renoy?
months. Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. What were you gonna say, Renoy?
I was just gonna say, we are there other people around here?
There are. I don't know if I should show you them till I trust you. You bewitched. And he's looking at how the rain isn't really hitting you.
Well, how kind of you to notice. Yes, my friend right here, Nosy, is a magister, and she was able, with my help, to talk to this here rain god and keep us dry so we could make our way along the coast a little bit more quickly.
You'll be on your way. And he turns to leave.
Well, don't you want our help? We could potentially help you with this problem.
You want to help, or do you want our provisions?
We want to help.
Sure you do.
I wouldn't turn my nose up against some tender victuals, though.
That's what I thought. On your way. He's going to leave you unless you want to change his mind or do something.
She has soothing.
Mm-hmm.
Can I attempt to use her soothing demeanor to sort of, get him to turn around and talk to us a little bit more?
Yeah, conflict is the conflict. The threat is that the Seabeard is leaving you
Right.
without any information.
Yes.
Soothing adds to your pool, I think.
It says spend a favor to move a threat down one stage.
Okay. Yeah, this was a one-stage threat. So
If the threat is a single stage, then it's automatically subdued.
Yeah. So you don't have to roll.
Yeah, I will spend that favor.
So what do you say to change his mind?
Nosy says, I know that the Seabeards are noble people, and I'm sure that they would want to help their people as much as possible. We have skills that could potentially help you with this situation and get you sailing again.
Your name was Nasi, right? Nasi?
Nosy, yes.
Nosy. I've been around lots of people in my life. No one has ever called a Saybeard noble. For that, I thank you. And I give you my favor. He reaches into his cloak and pulls out a nasty, wet scarf. Has probably never been washed and has sea slime all over it. But it has a sort of a tartan. This is obviously an important thing to him.
Mm-hmm.
And he hands it to you.
She will take it with as much dignity and reverence as she can muster.
A gesture from my people to yours.
Thank you.
We have a feast. And then he starts marching away, leading you.
Oh. And Nosy will follow.
All right, let's go. Okay.
She'll put the scarf around her neck. It's wet and everything, but like if this is gonna make the guy happy, that's what she's gonna do.
It smells like
Respectful.
fish carcass.
Well, I'm a reptile, so it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. She'll wear it as proudly as she possibly can.
You've eaten worse.
Blackshire takes you through some coastal forest. And after a while, you get underneath a lot of coastal oaks. And so it's stopping a lot of the rain. And they had built largely wooden, but also ramshackle stone, a large feasting hall. And there are probably almost 100 dirty, smelly pirate people around a bonfire, drinking way too much ale and having a good time. And so Blackshire brings you there and introduces you grandly as, new friends from the Whitlands coming in honor. And they, you're embraced if you allow it. Kind of crowd surfed up, and except for Amir.
Is the meeting hall, is it big enough for Amir to get in there?
Yeah, it's built to be a huge feast hall. So
Nice.
yeah, I mean, you might have to lower a bit.
So this is like a permanent.
Yeah,
building.
it was hastily built, but it's a permanent building.
I had to mute myself because I'm laughing, picturing the pirates trying to crowd surf a mirror, just like they make an attempt, but it's just.
Yeah, Grumble's not going up easy either. I mean, he's a giant stone. He's a boulder, basically. Rough edges.
The feast hall is wide and open and full of revelry, and there is a lord or noble or somebody in sort of like there's a crown made out of branches, long hair, long beard, and he's sitting observing the feast with his bearded council people all behind him.
What is it? Are people just eating and drinking, or is there like entertainment and stuff? What's or is
all
the
of the
drinking
above.
the entertainment?
So it's all of the above. So there's drinking, there's shows, but the entertainment are, essentially bards with their string instruments singing epic songs. People knowing the songs and singing along. Big bonfire. So there's a feast with boar. They have ale, the whole thing.
The songs that they're singing, are these like Seabeard songs, or are these like the bangers that everybody throughout the Highcaster world knows?
I think that is a good question. I could answer it, or you could. You want to pay a favor for that?
Yeah, I'll pay a favor, and it's like these are the classics, but they probably have like a little bit of Seabeard stank on them.
Yeah,
like
so
there's
like
a
sea
way that
shanty.
they play them. Yeah, like the instruments that they play and the way that they sing. It's kind of a sea shanty thing going on. I think ours are a little bit more. I think the Whitlander style is a little more like folksy, but like outlaw country style folksy. Like it's a little more like salt of the earth as opposed to salt of the sea type thing going on. But Grumble is absolutely going to join in and try to create a make a connection with these people.
Well, since you've spent a favor, you can tell me what happens.
So there's this one song that he sits in on, and it's one of those like call and response songs that has like 500 verses, and like nobody knows all the verses, but like there's the ones that are your hometown favorites and stuff. And so he sits in on one of the larger sort of gatherings where they're singing this around like a little coal burning fire thing, and he like gets in the pocket and starts playing along while there's like two people in front of him, and then Grumble's gonna kick it up with the verse that he knows, which is all about sheep and goats and wolves, and like the three different types of people in the world are sheep and goats and wolves. And then it's technically, if like you keep going, the verses get increasingly ribald, and you start to realize that it's not really about sheep and goats and wolves. But I don't think that the Seabeards have heard this version of it. So
I think this is Emir's favorite because he thinks it's about the animals.
Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't get the double entendre or whatever the seedy side of it is.
Inosi's gonna watch, Grumble go off, and then I don't know if Amir goes off too, but if it's okay, so those two go off. So Inosi's gonna look at Renoy and say, "Would you like to accompany me to pay our respects?" And kind of looks at the Lord type sitting there, feeling like they should introduce themselves, perhaps pay their respects.
Let's go, Inosi. These people have welcomed us into our home, so well, let's do that, and they can go ahead and sing. I am not much of a singer, so
nor am I.
There we go.
So we're gonna make our way over to where this this Lord, this obvious elder hierarchy person is sitting. And when we get there, Inosi will, make a grand bow with her staff and everything.
One of the Saybeards next to him stands up and draws his large ass claymore and steps down and does a bow. But this is like the kind of bow you give before you spar with someone.
Oh crap!
And then the Lord just sort of smiles and presents like you know what the hell to do.
I look at Renoy like, are both of us, you, me?
I get what? So we're fighting. Wait.
He postures. He has the sword up, and now he's like, doing the circle around. And the feast hall erupts, and they're like, yeah, and everybody's crowding around. Dale is being saluted.
Oh no!
I think this is their welcome
thing. I guess we're just gonna go with it. Renoy just kind of like makes herself look a little taller, and she puffs up her feathers on her wings, and she's just like, all right.
Inosi will put out her staff and make it glow a little bit, like. All right.
Yeah, she cracks her neck and she's like, all right, I guess it's time to channel the demon heritage. And then her eyes kind of like flash red and she's like, all right.
This is a threat. Ritual combat, which is a 2-stage threat.
Also, they don't even speak our language, right? So
well, maybe. Some of them do. I don't know.
Everyone speaks combat.
Blackshire did.
Everyone knows fighting. Everyone knows fighting.
Everyone knows a really pissed off look on somebody's face, just like, come here.
Like, come at me is a universal gesture.
Yeah. Come at me, bro.
This guy thinks he could take both of you on because he's the only one in the ring. So there's the two of you and they're sort of circling. What do you do?
I think we know each other well enough that we can kind of try to do like a flanking.
Mm-hmm.
Like we kind of do a cool, this would be awesome. We kind of like cross in front of each other to go like opposite sides on either side of this guy to try to get at him.
And over the strumming banjo, you hear the sound of like battle drums going. And then another scoffler comes in with this massive horn, which would be about the right size for Amir. And now the battle's going, and so everybody's all engaged. And I don't know, Grumble maybe lost his audience.
I'll just fall in line with the drums like Doof Warrior.
Yeah. So this is the ritual combat. So what are you going to do? You are crossing. And what's the intent of that? Maybe that's your first move. Are you working to intimidate him? Are you
a little bit of intimidation, a little bit of confusion. He probably doesn't know what we're capable of or what we might be planning. So, a little bit of intimidation, like, oh crap, they know each other really well. This might not be so easy. Like, we're not going to wait our turn like ninjas or something like that. We're we're just gonna, cross in front. And so a little bit of intimidation, but I think also maybe a little bit of confusion to kind of throw him off of because he'll have to split his attention if we're on either side. So yeah.
All right. Well, this is a prestige roll.
Mhm.
You'll also get since I think Danny, you were initiating it. You'll do the rolling, but you'll get try to get the names right. Renoy, you'll get your prestige die. So what's your prestige die?
Oh, the D4.
All right, so you get a D4 and then your prestige die. So you get those two. That's what happens when you assist.
Nice.
And then, whatever discipline or talents that you can or should or want to use.
Okay, perfect. So I thankfully prestige is my highest one with the biggest die at D8.
Nice.
And I got my D20. And
Joanna's D4.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so that's a D4 there. And I will use my, let's see. Okay. Yeah. I'll try and attempt to use my discipline of runes. That's how, she's going to attack.
Oh,
she's going to kind of create a rune with her staff to create a rune that will, try to take him out. And I will do that. And D6, why not? Why not? Let's go for it. Why not? Come on, why not?
Come on, Anasi.
All right. I think that's all I can take. I also have my talent, but that's just magical, determining magical stuff. I think.
Right.
So, all right, here we go. 16 and a 7. Thank you very much.
Whoa.
I will take a 22.
Yes.
Well, you get a favor. Now this is a 2-stage threat. So the first stage, you can tell me how he reacts to this.
Oh, perfect. So, her slightly glowing staff draws a rune in the air. And this, because she figures, these guys, they're sailors, right? So they would be afraid of lightning, probably. I mean, that's not great when you're out of the sea. So just thing of lightning comes out. And she doesn't want to hurt him. This is ritual battle. So it just singes his butt as she puts it right behind him.
And what does he do?
He turns around to look at what happened and looked at her, which will give Renoy an opportunity to do something. That's what I would like.
Okay.
Does he look foolish or does he look scared?
He'll probably look scared at first, but then he doesn't want to look foolish, so he's going to try to recover. He'll be
so he postures more.
Yeah. He's and everybody else is
so he's probably more focused on you, leaving an opening for Renoy.
Yeah, that's what I would like, if that's possible.
Yeah, that happens just as you described. You had narrative control.
Cool.
Renoy, what do you do?
What do I do? I think I want to, or Renoy wants to scare him a little bit more. So she, so the place that we're in, how is it lit? Because
it's torch lit, and there's braziers around. Yeah.
Okay, so she wants to she wants to use her magical ability because she draws power for her charms and spells through the elements, but she wants to do it lightly. So she just wants to kind of cast a little spell to make all the light in the room go out, so it's very dark for him, so he can't see anything, but she can see in the dark. So she wants to take that opportunity to try to just tackle him to the ground and pin him. So
nice. All right, we're going after the same threat because it's a 2-stage threat. And trying to decide the move. I think this is another prestige roll, but I guess you could say the strike. You're just going after him. This is strike. So this is courage.
Okay. Great. Courage.
So take your courage die, and then are you going to use a discipline die?
Yes, I want to use my discipline of the curses, cast a magical curse that will have a harmful effect on a person. But it's just to confuse him.
Sure. All right, so you can choose a 6, 8, or 4.
6, 8. Okay. What if my courage die is an 8?
Well, then if you want to use an 8 for your discipline as well, you can.
Oh, okay.
But then you don't get it back until you rest. So you have an 8, 6, or 4 to choose from. So if you use the 8, you'll be down to the 6 and the 4.
Okay. I'm going to use an 8 and a 6 then.
Okay. So you have the 8 for your courage die, and then you're going to use the 6 from discipline. Okay.
Yes.
And then any talents that apply here? Or is there anybody that's can help? Like, is Grumble is your banjo music really designed to incite something?
Yeah. Well, I think that it's more that I'm falling in line with the percussion.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to hype the crowd because I've seen ritual combat or before. So like this is less about really defeating your opponent to hurt them or anything like that. It's more to like show off and get people hype.
Yes,
right?
theatrics.
So music helps.
All right. So what's your prestige?
Mine?
Or
Grumble.
Grumble's prestige is D4.
All right. So add another D4 to that pool. Let's just fill it up.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And then roll all the die. That's the best part about the system. You roll all of the dice.
All right.
And then pick the highest number.
Okay.
Nice.
Oop. Let me roll that. Okay.
If your D20 isn't one of the higher ones, do you choose a different die?
No, you have to use the D20 as the base number.
Okay.
Okay. So I got 16, 17, 18.
Okay. That's good. All right. So it happens as you describe. It's dark. All of a sudden, he's tackled. And are there any like spooky effects that happen after that, or is that just the end of it?
Then once Renoy tackles him to the ground, she has him like flat on his stomach, and she's holding him down, and her wings are over. Then all the torches come back on. So
you hear a noise, and at first you're not sure what it is, but after a moment you realize it's laughing, as this warrior is laughing in complete awe and amazement. And stands up, lays down his sword, does a deep bow, and then applause, and the entire chamber erupts in this big party. So then the noble invites you forward.
I'll walk forward.
Okay.
He speaks to you enthusiastically. You don't understand a word he's saying. But you do get it that he, his title, he is the Roy.
The Roy.
Which might be a word for king or lord or something. And that's what everybody calls him. But you don't understand what he's saying. He doesn't care. Like, he's like now your best friend and putting his smelly arms around you and admires that you got Blackshire's scarf and, offers you drinks.
Grumble definitely thinks that his name is Roy, and we'll just call him Roy for the rest of this meeting.
In his accent, just, yeah, well, Roy.
Now listen up, Roy. Let me tell you something.
So you're well received. You did a good job. The Saybeards are fans.
What's the hat situation in this town?
They're mostly battered helms with nose guards. You do see a helmet that has fur lining and a horn on one side and a broken horn on the other. That's just sort of like cast off into the side.
Oh, this is just
somebody just threw it off because it's broken.
Well, I think that's Grumble's now. Probably can't fit on him,
really
but he's
doesn't
gonna
make them mad.
It does. I mean, it fits.
It fits me.
Yeah.
Oh,
you try it
okay.
on. It's like,
This dude must have had a noggin. Okay.
yeah.
It works. I'm definitely going to put it on then.
So, Amir, what are you doing during all these festivities?
I think Amir is trying to trade knots and or lure ideas with the fishermen. So he has a big hook around his neck, and he's like talking all about it and you know the biggest fish that he's caught. And I think he mostly fishes in like lakes and rivers because it's the first time he's been to the coast. So like he hasn't had like the biggest fish would be smaller than probably anything they've seen. So he's amazed by the size of like he's never seen a whale, right? Like so he's just amazed that there would be fish that they would describe as like his size. And so he's so excited to go and he wants to go fish in the sea now.
So what language are you speaking?
So he speaks Whitlander and Rishan. So
Okay. So there's definitely going to be some fisher folk that can speak Rishan. That's the sort of the merchant language, which is a little more. It's not la lingua franca, but it's like if you do any kind of trade, you have to know a bit. So they're all talking. No, their Rishan's going to be probably more broken than yours, but they're definitely getting words out, and you're all getting collectively excited about. You know, the fish that they're describing are the the whales that go along the northern coast, and so. They're describing humpback whales to you. And
yeah, at some point he's forced to lay down so they can show how big the fish was. Yeah.
But then in kind of hushed voices, they talk about the Say Scare. And the Say Scare,
The biggest.
you know,
fish
they
of all.
kind of like a couple of them remove their hats, you know, and they're, you know, one of them says in broken Rishan, no more fish.
No. They say scare it. It has eaten all of the fish.
All of the fish.
Well, that cannot be. We need the fish.
Where does the sea scare come from?
Darkness. One of them. This is one of those real performance art scopplers that you get in every feast hall. You know, and he comes swooping up and robe goes dramatically down the stairs. It came from darkness. The darkness of the deep, where no man or woman has seen.
Grumble's eyes light up and he sits down, crisscross applesauce, and just like head in his hands, and he's ready for whatever this person has to show him.
The moon was black. The sea was calm. And from below came terror upon our shores, and with it the storm of a millennia, rising the tide against our villages, slamming buildings and homes into the sea.
And then what happened?
That's it.
And how long?
Tentacles, teeth.
How long has it been since it came?
6 months.
You have survived with no fish
6
for
new moons.
That is too long to go without fish. We will do something about this. We will deal with this sea scare.
Yes.
Listen, we're trying to get to the Riverlands. If we were to handle the sea scare problem for you, would you be able to give us passage to the Riverlands?
Looks up at the Roy.
Roy, I'm asking you as a friend. If we took care of this sea scare issue for you, would you be able to put us on some of your boats and give us passage over the Riverlands?
One of his advisors whispers to him, and he listens. And nods.
That is
Grumble spits into his hand, but it's like dust. And he like puts his hand out to shake on it.
At first, the Roy kind of recoils, but then understands what you're doing and does kind of like a awkward slap, like he's doesn't know about handshakes, but it's the Seabird version of that.
Yeah, rock pounded out.
Are there any ships left that we could use to get out to the sea scare, or how deep is it? I've never seen waters deeper than, well, I mean, some lakes are very deep, but
The advisor speaks to him. He speaks back. The advisor says, Blackshire has his ship.
oh, that is the one who gave
that's
you
the guy.
scarf.
That's the guy with the scarf.
Yes.
Well, that is good fortune for us. Inasi, all you have to do is ask your suitor if he will take us out.
My what?
Isn't that what the scarf is?
Yeah, I thought y'all were getting married. I didn't understand.
Wait, what?
No, the scarf is like, I want to be with you.
That's how I interpreted
Oh,
it.
That
this
was
is
I
this
thought
is
it was-
good.
Renoy, you thought the same thing, right?
Oh, I mean, I didn't before, but I do now.
Now you see it. Now you see
Yeah.
it.
Yes, this was explained to me. I always miss it.
Her scales
Yeah.
turn kind of purple.
We are so
Because
happy for you.
If
Inez.
you glance over to him, he does have a broad smile underneath his beard while he's looking at you.
And look, he has many of his teeth.
He's got several teeth. He's probably
Probably
got-
has some
he's got his-
molars
he's got a-
too.
got a ship of his own.
Mhm,
You could
mhm.
do a lot worse.
He showed me a very good knot earlier. You could do worse.
What? Why are you all trying to get me married?
Oh no, we just need the ship, but he likes you.
So I mean, if you have to pretend, to
What
marry him, first
exactly
get the
are you
ship.
suggesting I do to get this ship?
What?
I
Oh,
thought that you were
nothing.
happy about it. I mean,
Yes, I just thought
I'm
it
not
was
trying to get you to
fortuitous.
do anything.
Okay, hold on. I think Anasi's just a little bit caught off guard. So, we're absolutely not going to pressure you into anything, but you're kind of the person of choice to go up and talk to him, to get his ship because he gave you his wonderful scarf. So he'll listen to you. He's not going to listen to us.
All right, I'll go and ask him. But I mean, that's it.
Do you want to take
I
muscles?
spit noxious gas, if somebody tries anything.
Yeah, you do.
Who would try something? Is he? Do you think he is not honorable?
Well, I don't know him.
Yeah, but he's friends with Roy.
That is true.
I'm putting a thread on the table called Blackshire ship is behind loving eyes.
Oh.
The threat now? Oh my god.
Grumble immediately begins writing a song called
It's-
Blackshire
Oh
Ship is Behind
my
Loving Eyes.
God.
It's a
an
one-stage
80s
thread.
pop song.
He recognizes that as a
You-
great song.
You are very
Yes.
soothing. You could deal with that, I believe.
She just
I-
glares at you all.
I got too many pointy features. I look like I'm gonna kill him.
I'm
can't.
a dragon.
Yeah, but you're a nice cuddly dragon. I think you're cuddly. Okay, just go. Just go.
Make all boy moves go wah.
Gosh. Yes, Anosi goes over there. She walks over there, taking a deep breath.
You get a very, very dramatic bow. What is it that you need?
Well, his name is Blackshire, right?
Yeah.
Blackshire. Well, Blackshire, my friends and I are wondering if we could use your ship. We know it's a lot to ask, but we do have a deal with the Roy here, that if we take care of the menace that's out in the ocean right now, that he would allow us passage to where we need to go. And since you have a ship, we were wondering if you would help us get out there.
Bertha? Oh. Dark times indeed, if Bertha is the last resort. I believe you have not seen my ship.
No, I have not.
It is for the best. I would give anything to you, for you have united our people. But I would not give you Bertha, for you will not stay afloat.
Oh, Bertha is in need of repair.
Bertha was a gift from my great-grandfather, which was a gift from his great-grandmother, and it really is a relic of our family, not a ship.
Oh,
And I do put the emphasis on relic.
I see. Well, unless there's another option, perhaps we could make Bertha less of a relic.
I treasure your life too much, I refuse.
Grumble doesn't really understand how long mortals live, so he's not sure if that's like means the ship's like 10 years old or like 10,000 years old.
So if you want to try to convince them, you'll need to roll your, the way that you're doing it is navigate others, so it's your prestige.
Okay. I think it probably should be. She'll even sigh and like, I don't know if dragons have eyelashes, but I don't know. She'll give them a look. I mean, that's what everybody's, but she'll just, please. I don't know. Dragon version of Puss in Boots. Just.
I'll give you an advantage die for that.
Okay.
Because he does seem enamored with you. So
all right.
you can add a d6 and then your prestige.
God, what
and
did I get
anything
into?
else you want to add.
What am I doing? I don't even. This is bad.
Good thing.
It's all y'all's fault. Okay. So a D20, D8 for prestige, and an advantage die, which would be
a d6.
All right. Those are the ones I get.
Oh, I'm wrong. I don't know my own rules. It's another prestige die. You get a d8.
Oh, okay. So 2 D8s. All right. That's 16.
Okay. All right. He kind of looks away and does I cannot refuse that draconic look. You may use Bertha, but I insist on going as well.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you so much. She'll put, some honey on it, whatever.
So
she'll give side eye to everybody else, like, really?
When you do see Bertha, which is in another structure nearby, this is it's a rowing ship that needs a sail. That it's the sort of thing you would see in a museum. Like, it's been taken care of really well, but it's obviously very old, and the wood itself is questionable. So it's going to need some work. And just at that time, you can see that the tide is coming in. So you were at low tide. So those big pounding, 50-foot waves are crashing close enough to you in the night that you can even see the whitecaps kind of plow through some trees and then recede. And boom, boom. And you look at Bertha and you look at the waves. And that's what you're going to have to deal with next session.
I feel a montage. 80s style montage.
Yes.
This ship and ship shape.
Oh, the Bertha's Behind Loving Eyes is like a pop 80s, like with synth and like the whole deal. Like, it totally is.
Yeah. It's got the same feel as Eye of the Tiger. Like,
This is going to be our coin for the winter.
yes.
Yep.
This is the breakout song.
Cut to a mirror.
We just start
dragging
hearing it
shipwreck
wherever
ships.
we go. Like, what is this?
All right. Well, the best of the Whitlanders have come upon Isolation Coast and are working with the surviving Seabeards against a giant sea creature. That has been our session. We will be back
Woo.
next Tuesday, same time.
Woo.
And I'm sure everything will work out just fine.
It's fine.
As long as we roll good.
It's gone well so far.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm feeling great about our friendship with Roy. I'm happy that we already have potential marriage in the works.
Yeah.
Got Kraken. What more could you want?
Yeah.
Yeah.
See Kraken.
We're not.